with the release of 28 Years Later, I thought it'd be really necessary.
Wait, you forgot.
Sorry, it had to happen. I knew that. I knew that would come up. Where were we? If I'm being honest, I thought 28 Days Later was just okay. I only saw it a couple months ago, and by that point I'd both seen and read, in my opinion, much better zombie apocalypse fiction. With that said, I greatly admire and respect the film for revolutionizing both the horror and apocalyptic genres with its highly unconventional take on zombies. The film's cult following is very well deserved. Hell, you could even argue that many modern post-apocalyptic tropes owe their existence to 28 Days Later. Naturally, it made sense to have a comic tie-in to such a popular film. Aftermath was released on April 3rd, 2007 by Fox Atomic Comics. While I couldn't find the logo directly and had to crop this comic's cover just to find it, the search did lead me to something called The Foxes vs. Atomic Wolves. And what in God's name is going on here? One can only hope for a cannibal orgy. It's not gonna be a cannibal orgy, is it? It never is. The book is divided into 4 parts, like in the stages of infection. This gives me a nice place to divide the review into 4 parts. I'd make a joke about how boring that is, but I just learned that I have a Confederate ancestor. That kind of takes the comedy out of everything, doesn't it? God. He wasn't even directly related to me. It's just he married into the family, but God! Why? That's a horrible thing to learn during filming, isn't it? The book was written by Steve Niles, who has quite the experience with zombies, having written Remains, Night of the Living Dead London, and King of the Dead. The artist for Stage 1 development was Dennis Calero, who's worked on Spider-Man Noir, X-Men Noir, Legion of Superheroes, X-Factor, and Kolchak. But I thought you meant the Russian Admiral! Sorry, my virginity gets upset every now and then. It's alright, little buddy. It's alright. This is 28 Days Later, the aftermath. Just start the review! We start off with a gang beating up an elderly man. Charming. Just an old day jolly old London down in a cab. Like I wanted to talk. See? This is stupid. I just admitted I have false teeth. God damn it. As it turns out, this is all a study by 2 scientists to, quote, isolate and understand what causes aggression in humans. I'm not gonna lie, there are so many avenues I could take this down. I'm honestly kind of stressed out. Which one do I pick? I don't know. Just pick one for me. One of the scientists, Clive, notices his colleague, Warren, exchanging a letter with the police captain. I'll just start the bureaucrat fucks us over clock. It's very handy. We cut to Clive at home, drunkenly denying that he abused his ex-husband, but admitting that he, quote, shouted, threw things, and pushed, but didn't strike him, end quote. That's still abuse, both physical, mental, and verbal. Christ, can you imagine if I did that? Hey, those were love taps!
No, they weren't!
That's the guy! Anyways. The next day, Warren informs Clive that he's decided to move on to human testing, and, to be fair, the subject is a pretty good candidate. Clive, for whatever reason, isn't comfortable with testing an unknown drug on prisoners without their consent. Which, by the way, violate both the Nuremberg Codes and the Human Rights Act of 1988. But those are just pesky pieces of paper. However, Warren reminds Clive that he can dig up certain domestic violence reports. Again, he pushed but didn't strike. That doesn't count as domestic abuse, remember? What the hell is going on with my hair? Christ. Fucking heat wave. That night, something surprisingly goes... How many times am I going to say surprisingly? Of course this is going to end up going wrong. These things always end up going wrong. You're all morons. You couldn't afford one guard, or was John Frederick Parker on duty? You know, I understand this is why my dating profile is a howling wilderness. The subject is loose and threatens to gut Clive and report this to the authorities. Which isn't really as threatening as gutting, but I don't know. You do you, Britton. Oh dear! What if the constable finds out? The constable! You know, after all that, I think I would call it a day. I mean, I do get why they're being secretive. I mean, it's not like you can just market radical mind control personality altering totally not 𝘋𝘢𝘵𝘦𝘳𝘮. Ooh, now in gummies for kids. Did you hear they're shaped like 𝘓𝑢𝑏𝑢s? I don't know what those are. I just learned about it 2 days ago. What happened to the Fred Flintstone ones? Those were fine. Clive and Warren are now trying to find a delivery system. Pills and crop dusting don't seem to work, but they may have a new idea. They go with Ebola. Why? Which is a far more ideal delivery system than Ebola, which is only spread, I think, through bodily fluids. Are you trying to make this harder for yourselves? There's no reason given for why the flu isn't used. They just spring right to Ebola, probably because Ebola was all the rage at the time this came out, and because it kinda ties in with the virus from the movie. I'm no doctor, but wouldn't it make more sense to use a less horrific disease that spreads faster? I mean, there was literally a pandemic over this. To be fair, though, it does help the story move along. I don't know, I kind of overlook inaccuracies or just inconsistencies or weird science if it moves the plot along and helps it develop. It doesn't really bother me as much as I kind of implied there. They hook a chimpanzee up to the monitor and start testing. 2 weeks later, and oh, dang it! Paul, we broke the champ! Seriously, what did you two think would happen hooking up one of the strongest primates onto a machine that just made him unhappy? You're morons! You're terrible at your jobs! Have you two done anything right? I do wonder what was on those TV screens. Yeah, that would do it. Oh Christ, take it down! Clive leaks the information to an environmentalist group, then proceeds to commit suicide. Wow, what a character. He was a scientist, abused his husband, and that's it. Yeah, this was a problem I had with both the original film and a lot of other zombie apocalypse fiction in general. In my opinion, the characters weren't particularly interesting. More often than not, you'll find that character development is often overshadowed by the zombies themselves or rushing to get to the zombies. Because of this, it's hard to get that invested in characters like Clive. His sole purpose here is to explain to the reader the origins of the rage virus. Once that task is accomplished, he's become expendable to the plot, and is thus dispatched. On the other hand, if you're more of a fan of the gore and body horror, are you really going to care that much about character development? Probably not. You just want to get to all the blood and slashing and... Yeah, so... That is fair if you're more into that. Everybody has their own tastes. We cut back to Warren talking to a mysterious person on the phone. Okay, this is interesting. The scene implies that the idea for this whole thing did not come from Warren and Clive, but from someone else. Who? I don't know. And I like shit like that. There's a whole... I mean, I don't like conspiracy theory, shadow cabal nonsense, but I like the mystery there of some unknown group doing something like this. I don't know, it's just... Little things like that keep the reader invested in wanting to know more. He hears a ruckus down the hall and goes to investigate. Hooligans! Don't make me call the constable! Sadly, he can't stop the inevitable. Ah, shit. I know where this is going. I knew it! Now I just need a place to put it on the timeline. This could take some mental gymnastics. Oh no, he's watching my old videos! Run, Aldo, run!